Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's class on Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 5, and text 19. We're very fortunate this morning to have His Grace, Vishnugada Prabhu from ISKCON, Philadelphia, to give the class. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept our humble obeisances.
Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhye cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. And I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to try to speak today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we'll sing. Okay, Paramakaruna. We sing this because Srila Prabhupada often sang this prior to the Chaitanya Charitamrita class when he spoke. Sometimes he said Chaitanya Charitamrita class. I was there in New York in 1976 when he did, and he chanted this. Parama Karuna Prabhu Dvijana Nitai Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Paudvijana Nitai Gura Chanda.
And if you like, it'd be nice if anybody who can unmute themselves so we can actually have a back and forth kirtan. Of course, it's nice with Parikshit Prabhu and me, but you could also join in. That'd be fun. Parama Karuna Prabhu Dvijana Nitai Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna
Prabhu Jaya
Nitai
Nitai
Gura
Gaurachandra
Chandra.
Parama Karuna Prabhu Dvijana Nitai Gaurachandra
Parama
Karuna
Karuna
Prabhu Jaya
Nitai
Nitai
Gura
Gaurachandra
Chandra.
Shabavatar Shar Shiramani Kebala Ananda Kanda
Shabhavata Shashiramani
Sasiramani
Kevala
Kevalananda Kanda
Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Vridha Vishwasa Kauri
Bhajo Bhajo Bhai
Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Nitai
Nitai
Vidya Vishwasakuri
Ishaya Chariya Serase Majia Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari
Vishaya Chariya Serase Majia
Mukh se
Mukhe
bolo
Bolo
Hari
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 Ekha Ore Bhai Tribhuvane Nai এমন দয়ালো দাতা
देखो रे भाई तेरी भुवने नहीं एमना दया दाता
পশু পাখি ঝুরে পাষাণ বিদারে শুনি যার গুণ গাতা
Chupaki jure,
बिलारे
Yes, yes.
बारे
পাষাণ বিদারে
Tare, Suni jana
গুণ
gunagata.
সংসারে মজিয়া রহিলি পদিয়া সে পদে নহিল আশা
Ansari pajia, Rohili puria, Epare na hilo
जिया
asa.
रोइले प्रयास
আপন করম ভুঞ্জায়ে সমন খহয়ে লোচন দাস
Apana
अपना
karma,
कर्मा
Unjaya
मुंजाए
shamana,
साना कोया
Kahole
लोसन
lochana
दासा
dasa.
পরম করুণ পাহু দ্বিজন নিতায় গৌরচন্দ্র
परम
Parama
करुणा
karuna,
प्रभु दुजना
Vijana,
निताय
Jai Gaura
गौरचंद्र
Chanda.
परम करुण पाहु द्विजन निताय गौरचंद्र
परम
Parama
करुणा
karuna,
प्रभु दुजना
Vijana,
निताय
Jai Gaura
गौरचंद्र
Chanda.
सब अवतार शार शिरोमणि केवल आनंद कंद
सब
Shabhavata,
अवतार
Shashiromani,
केवल
Kevala
आनंद
Ananda
कंद
Kanda.
जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमान डिवाइन ग्रेस AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai. वृंदावन धाम की जय नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय तुलसी देवी की जय भक्ति देवी की जय श्रमवेता भक्त वृंद की जय गौर प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glory to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirbishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. That prayer, you might know that prayer. Parama Karuna Pahudvijan. These two, the topmost mercy is from these two lords. Who are the two lords? Nitai Gauda Chandra, Shab Avatar, and of all incarnations, Shad, they're the cream, Shiramani, and the crest jewel. Why? Kevala Ananda Kanda, because they're delivering a process of self-realization, of becoming free from birth and death, which is joyful, only joyful. Chanting Hare Krishna, discussing Chaitanya Charitamrita, and taking Krishna Prasadam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Wow, there's a feedback there. Hare Krishna. So this is the verse. Must be Bengali. Brahmande prakashatara Krishner ichai eki swaruptar nahi dvikai. Brahmande prakashtar Krishner ichai ek I swaruptar nahi dvikai. Brahmande prakashatar Krishner ichai ek Ishwaruptar nahi dvikai. Anybody like to chant?
Brahman Vipakasha Tara Krishna Ichaya Eka Iswarupa Tara Nahi Dvikaya. Hare Krishna.
ब्रह्मांडे प्रकाशतार कृष्णेरा इच्छाए एक ही स्वरूप तार नाही दुई काए.
Very good.
ब्रह्मांडे प्रकाश तारक कृष्णेरइच्छाय एक ही स्वरूप तार नाही दुई काय. हरे कृष्ण.
Yes. Brahmande, within the material world, prakasha, manifestation, tar, of it, Krishner ichai, by the supreme will of Lord Krishna, eka I, it is the same, svarup, identity, tar, of it, nahi, not, dvi, two, kai, bodies. Translation. That abode is manifested within the material world by the will of Lord Krishna. It is identical to that original Gokula. They are not two different bodies. Purport. The above mentioned dhammas are movable by the omnipotent will of Lord Krishna. When Sri Krishna appears on the face of the earth, he can also make his dhammas appear without changing their original structure. One should not discriminate between the dhammas on the earth and those in the spiritual sky, thinking those on earth to be material and the original abodes to be spiritual. All of them are spiritual. Only for us who cannot experience anything beyond matter in our present conditioned state do the dhammas and the Lord himself in his archa form appear before us resembling matter to give us the facility to see spirit with material eyes. In the beginning, this may be difficult for a neophyte to understand, but in due course, when one is advanced in devotional service, it will be easier, and he will appreciate the Lord's presence in these tangible forms. Om Agyana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Shayam Rupakadamakyam Dadati Sha Padantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Before speaking, I need to ask the permission and blessings from all the devotees present and not present, and especially those who are senior by age and or advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So in this section of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is beginning a description of the spiritual world manifested in within the framework of this material universe. What's called Dham. And as this verse points out, it's by the will of Lord Krishna that when Lord Krishna appears or descends from his spiritual planet, the topmost planet in the spiritual world, he brings with him his spiritual abode, or Dham, Gokula Dham. And that's a little difficult, like Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, for us neophytes to understand. But if we make some advancement, we can understand it better. We know from the, sometimes we talk about the presence, the identity of Lord Krishna and his deity form, Archa Vigraha. Because, of course, Lord Krishna is everywhere, within everything and outside of everything. So he's also there in the material, apparently material substance of the deity form. But he personally, by his mercy, he personally comes in that form and spiritualizes that form. It is his form, so that he can, gives us a chance to see him and render service to him in a personal way. That's our opportunity, because our consciousness is usually overwhelmed by the idea of we're the enjoyer and that we need to be served. But by his mercy, Lord Krishna comes as the spiritual master, as the deity, and as his holy name, to remind us that our life will become meaningful and we'll make progress to an ultimate goal if we can learn to do service for Krishna. Ekala Ishwar Krishna Ar Shabritya. That means that everybody, there's one Ishwar, supreme controller. That's Krishna. Everybody else is servant. Ishwara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam. There are many different Ishwaras. We like to think of ourselves as Ishwaras. There are many demigods on the various planets that have some subordinate control, and that, but ultimately the ultimate controller of all controllers is Lord Krishna, and his body is eternal, full of bliss, and full of knowledge. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we're seeing this. Could we go back to the purport? We have on my page, I have a Prabhupada picture, which is very nice. Anyway, I don't know who's doing that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has this very nice prayer, which maybe some of you know. I don't know if you've heard this prayer. It goes, Tumi Sarveshwareshwara Brajendra Kumar. You are, to me, you are Sarveshwareshwara. Of all Ishwaras, you're the Ishwara. Brajendra Kumar. Who is that? Brajendra Kumar. Tomar Ichai, by your will, Vishve, the universe, Srijan Sanhar, is created and destroyed. Tava Ichamata Brahma, by your will, Brahma, Karina Srijan, Brahma creates. Tava Ichamata Vishnu Karine Palan. And by your will, Lord Vishnu is maintaining. Tava Ichamata Shiva Karine Sanghar. And by your will, Lord Shiva is destroys things at the end of the universe. Tava Ichamata Maya Srije Karagar. And by your arrangement, by your will, Maya creates the prison house of this material world. The nice prayers by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So this is good news for us. There is a spiritual world, and that spiritual world is as eternal, as liberated, as potent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. In fact, it's non-different from Him. So this is a little bit of difficult to wrap our minds around. Just as Krishna and his form are not different, Krishna and his abode are not different, and they're also fully conscious, not just like here in the material world. We walk on the earth and it's just some dead matter, but in the spiritual world, the abode of Lord Krishna is fully conscious and non-different from Lord Krishna himself. In this world, there are different conceptions of paradise or Shangri-La. And usually people become confused between paradise or heaven and the spiritual world. But in Krishna consciousness, we're so fortunate. We know we're being taught that there's really a distinction between paradise or heaven and the spiritual world. Srila Prabhupada told a story, it's a Hindi story, about a man who was dealing with another family. And let's see, I think I have it right here. Conversation, yeah. There's a story. One man said to his friend, "Are you drinking? Then you will go to hell." So the man replied, "Oh, but my father is also drinking." "Oh, then he will also go to hell." But my mother is drinking." "Oh, she will also go to hell." "My brother is drinking." "Then he will go to hell too." In this way, the fellow was then, "Oh, everyone is going to hell. Then hell is heaven. Why do you say hell? We shall live together and drink. Why do you call hell? That is heaven." Yeah. The conceptions of paradise in this world are tinged, overwhelmed with the idea that we're the enjoyer. There's a famous televangelist by the name of Billy Graham. Have you heard of Billy Graham? Famous Christian preacher, minister.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So he liked to play golf. So people asked him, "Well, when you go to heaven, will there be golf courses there?" Actually, I was doing a little research, and it's amazing how much time people have given to this question. Are there golf courses in heaven? And the answer is usually yes, but they're really wonderful golf courses, beautiful. And the sand traps don't keep your golf balls long. Anyway, but the idea of heaven is distinct from the idea of the spiritual world, because in heaven, people are still thinking that they're the enjoyer. They're the the purpose for them going to heaven is to enjoy more and more. But in the spiritual world, things are the description are there. They're very nice descriptions, but there's a stark difference from the material universe, even in the heavenly planets, and that is that everyone is activities, thoughts, desires, interests, hopes, love is directed for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that's very wonderful. Big distinction. So Narottam Das Thakur prays, Gauranga bolite habe, Pulaka sharir, Hari Hari bolite, Nayane babe nir. When will it be that I chant the name of Gauranga, and by doing so, my hairs will stand on end? Pulaka sharir means the hairs on my body stand on end. Hari 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 bolite, and by chanting Hari Hari, my eyes will fill with tears. He's praying like this. This prayer is called Lala Samayi, or Lolium. Lolium means great eagerness, which is the price to be able to enter. That's the ticket to get into the spiritual world, to have that intense eagerness to serve and to chant the holy names purely. So then he says, Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shuddha Habeman. And when will I give up this desire to be the center of everything, to be to enjoy my sense gratification? Bishaya Chadiya. Chadiya means to give it up. Shuddha Habeman. And with a purified mind, Kabe Hamaherabo Sri Brindaban. And at that point, if I've given up my determination, my vow to enjoy for my senses, my selfish enjoyment, then and only then will I be able to appreciate Vrindavan as it is. So Srila Prabhupada said like that. Even we have a pinch of material desire, we have to stay. We have to stay here. So we're very fortunate to get this brief description here of the spiritual world, because as we contemplate, meditate, and think about the spiritual world, we will be attracted to go there. This spiritual realm of Gokul and Goloka is mentioned briefly, hints of it are given in the Bhagavad Gita, and it's more elaborately described in verses in the Brahma Samhita. But usually we start to understand things from Bhagavad Gita. That's our ABCs. So do you have any recollection of any verses in the Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna describes his abode to Arjuna? That's a question, not a rhetorical question. I know you know. Come on. If you're at work, you can.
I think Tad Bhasate.
Good. Yes. Go ahead. Come on.
Yeah, I able to remember that much only, Prabhu.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's a good start. Natad bhasyate suryo, nasha shanko napavaka, yad gadvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. We're talking about the spiritual world, or not heaven. Natad bhasyate suryo. In that place, there's no need for the sun. Nasha shanko. There's no need for the moon, because the sun and the moon are the luminaries in this world. Napavaka, nor electricity or other kinds of illuminating energy. Natad bhasyate suryo nashashanko napavaka yad gadvana nivartante. And when you attain that place, when you get there, nanivartante means you never return. You never return to this place. Tadhama, that's my place. Tadhama paramamama. That's the best of paramam, means the best place, the topmost place. Yeah, Krishna describes it briefly there in the Bhagavad Gita, but there are other ones too. There are other references.
Chintamani Prakara Sadmashuta.
Oh, this is Brahma Samhita. We're good. Yeah.
Brahma Samhita.
We're gonna get to Brahma Samhita. Don't worry. But we're starting with the Bhagavad Gita. So that was a very good verse. Yeah. What interesting point. Yad gadva nani vartante. So It's you don't come back again, right? Don't come back. Then there's another verse where Krishna says, Brahma bhuvana loka punarvartya arjuna mamupecha tu kaunteya punarjanma navidyate. You know that? From the topmost planet in this world down to the lowest, all are places of misery. But one who comes to my abode, so there's a description of his abode, never has to take birth again. So the same idea of not having to take birth once you go back to Godhead. Sometimes people question whether in the initial state we were in the spiritual world or were from the Brahma Jyoti. Have you ever heard this question?
Some people are tossing it around, yeah.
You've heard that before? Yeah.
Yeah, some people think that we were not in the spiritual world, proper.
So
but that's not what Srila Prabhupada said. At least I haven't heard him say that.
yeah. So just a few points on that issue. So the different reasons, there are various reasons people take that as the idea. One is because this idea of nitya baddha and nitya siddha. Sometimes it's said in the Vedic literature that there are different types of living entities. Some are nitya baddha and nitya siddha. Nitya baddha means eternally conditioned, and nitya siddha means eternally liberated. So if you're eternally conditioned, that means you're conditioned from the beginning, right? This is the argument. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
So what's the response?
Srila Prabhupada said that they give an analogy that when the city is built, they build the jail also.
You build a what?
They build a jail.
Okay.
A house of correction also.
Okay.
Because the government is aware that there are some people that would probably go against the law and they need to be isolated from the law-abiding people.
Yeah, but so then we were born nitya baddhas. We were born into this material world from the beginning. Nitya Gopal.
Hare Krishna. I think one place Prabhupada mentions this analogy: if someone gets drowned, so someone is asking, hey, his hand gets saved. That the person says that first tell me who dropped it, then I will give the hand. So, I see that one place Prabhupada give that example.
Yeah. So about the nitya baddha, nitya siddha, there's different meanings of nitya.
Mm-hmm.
So just like the word atma, you know the word atma? Atma can mean the soul.
Mm-hmm.
It can mean the body. It can mean the mind, etc. Right? How do you know the difference? Well, it's by context. Just like any language, words take on their meaning, not just as words, but in the context of what's being said. You understand? So similarly, nitya baddha doesn't mean that those souls were when they were created in the Brahma Jyoti or created in the prison house of the material world. What Srila Prabhupada said about that was that nitya baddha means that the time being in the material world is so long, so far back that it cannot be traced. You follow? Which is ordinarily we think of nitya or eternal as being always existing in the past and always existing in the future. That's one meaning. But in this case, the nitya baddha, in this case, doesn't mean forever in the past. It just means so long ago that it's impossible to trace out. Do you follow?
Yeah.
Then on the other side, go ahead.
Sometimes they also say that those in Brahmaloka are deathless.
Yes, in the heavenly planets, they drink that somaras to become deathless. But actually, It's just to extend their life for a long time, right? It's called Amrit, right? Deathless, yeah. And on the other hand, you've got the Nitya Siddhas, like, you know any Nitya Siddhas?
Srila Prabhupada.
Yes.
Practically
How
the
about,
whole parampara. And
about
I
Narad
like
Muni? How
that.
about Narad Muni?
Absolutely.
So Narad Muni, we have the story, the first story there in Srimad Bhagavatam is about Narad Muni who becomes a Nitya Siddha. So if in this case the Nitya Siddha meant always in the past and always in the future and currently, then how can someone ever become a Nitya Siddha? You follow? You
Yeah.
follow? So the meaning of Nitya, it's a mistaken understanding of the meaning of Nitya. So then, if we say that people don't fall from the people say, well, we don't fall from the spiritual sky. Well, they were created in the Brahma Jyoti. That means the Brahma Jyoti is already fallen. You're already fallen. So why is it, if that's the case, why is it that some individuals are created fallen? You follow?
Mm.
That we can explain. So, Prabhupada has emphasized that even though we don't go splitting hairs at the end, but Icha Dvesha Samutena Dvanva Mohena Bharata. We're all in this predicament in this material world because we wanted to be Krishna and we were envious of Krishna. That's everybody in this world, it's a fact. Just like you see somebody's in the prison, they're a criminal. They're a criminal, and they'll tell you, "Oh, I was wrongly arrested." There might be one or two, but practically everybody, no, they have their story. I don't know if you've ever listened to people tell their stories. So we had to listen to some of those things in our psychology classes. People telling their stories, and they tell how they were wrongly accused of this and that, but then then the real facts come out, and of course, mostly everybody in the material world. It's by the very fact that we're here. It's because Icha Dvesha. We're envious of Krishna, and we want to become Krishna. There's a famous, the father of psychology, or Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud. So Sigmund had this idea that there's this edible complex. The edible complex? Anybody?
Mm.
Oedipus was a Greek character, fictitious character, perhaps real, but anyway, who was born to a king, and the king, there was a prophecy that this child of his would kill him and marry his wife. So he gave the child, unlike Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana, he gave the child to one of his servants and said, "Go on, I don't want to do it myself. I'm not going to get blood on my hands, but you go and kill this child." And somewhere's out in the boondocks. So the servant went there, and he he was trying to kill the child, but he just couldn't bring himself to do it. He just injured the child's leg, and then the child was found by some shepherds, and they raised him. And then eventually, what happened was he killed the king and he married the king's wife. So, according to Freud, everybody in this material world at a certain point, when we're young, the boys, particularly boys, not so much ladies, but boys, they want to kill their father and marry their mother. Did you ever hear this? This is it's called
and I don't buy it for 1 second.
no, the Oedipus complex. But there is a grain of truth. What's that?
That was a very crazy principle by Sigmund Freud, Prabhu. I remember learning that in psychology, and I thought it was the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
So, but there's an element of truth. There's an element of truth. in it. And that
Really?
is, yeah, because who's the Supreme Father? Krishna, right?
Krishna,
We-
yes.
We want to, so in this material world, we want to get rid of Krishna
Aha.
and marry, and enjoy his material world, his energies, Lakshmi.
Aha.
Yeah, isn't it? Isn't it? That's
Yeah.
so there's a grain of truth, a grain of truth. It may not be applying as I said. So anyway, so we were talking about the idea of, falling from, whether we fall from Vaikuntha or fall from the Brahma Jyoti. So anyway, and then Srila Prabhupada in letters wrote, there's the story of Jaya and Vijay in the seventh canto of falling from the gatekeepers of Vaikuntha. And he said, this is also evidence. But you have to think about it. even the people who are in full-time association with Krishna, or, for example, Lord Chaitanya had a servant, a Brahmin servant named, what was his name? Krishnadas, wasn't it? When he went to South India? Kala Krishnadas. Kala Krishnadas, I think. And as he was in full-time association with Lord Chaitanya, who's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he got lured away by the Bhattaharis, remember? As they was traveling in South India.
Oh.
There were some kind of gypsy-like people, and they allured him with some woman, and he strayed, even though he's with Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full time. But Lord Chaitanya went and rescued him from their clutches and brought him back. But he was careful with them, cautious with them afterwards. So anyway, we're talking about the dhammas. So the the spiritual world is, so there's that it's effulgent, no need for sun or moon or electricity. The Vedas say tamasi ma jyoti gama. Let's get out of the darkness and go to the light. Krishna Surya Samamaya Hoya Andhakar. Krishna is Godhead is light, and nescience is darkness. So the spiritual world is always bright and effulgent. And with our material eyes, we cannot fathom that. But by developing spiritual vision, we can appreciate that spiritual world, the spiritual effulgence that's always there. So there's some other references to Lord Krishna's abode in the Bhagavad Gita also. The verse, Arjuna, after hearing from Lord Krishna for several chapters, in the 10th canto, Krishna says, Aham sarvasya prabhavo matta sarvam pravartate iti madva bhajante mam. You know this verse. I am the source of everything. Everything emanates from me. And then Arjuna, in response, he says, Param Brahma, Param Dhamma. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you are the supreme abode. You are the supreme abode. And Krishna says also, so there's a reference to him being the supreme abode. There's also a reference, this verse, Manmana Bhava Mad Bhakto Madhyaji Mam Namaskuru Mam Ivasyasi Satyam Te. If you always think of me, that's why we chant Hare Krishna. Does it ever happen that you chant Hare Krishna for a while and you haven't remembered Krishna? Does it ever happen? Yeah, it does with me. So we got to practice. We still got to practice. But always think of me. Bhava Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. Madhyaji, worship me. Mam Namaskuru, and offer your obeisances to me. Mami Vaishyasi. That way, you will come to me. You will come to me. So he has to be in a place, right? That's Krishna has a place. You will come to me. And he says, Sarva dharman parichaja mam ekam sharanam braja. So you give up all other duties, all other types of religion, all other businesses, and try to just take shelter of me. And this word, sharanam braja, take shelter of me. I've heard it that shelter of me is mam ekam sharanam vraja. You know that word vraja? The word vraja has different meanings, but one of the meanings is take shelter of me in my abode of Vrindavan. Isn't that interesting?
That's very nice.
It's very interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So these are the references, some references to Krishna's abode in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm going to read another one that we don't hear very much of, and it's quite nice. It's in the 8th chapter, 21st verse, because Krishna says, Antakale chamameva smaran mukva kaleva yaparatya samadbhavam yati nati asta samshaya. If you quit your body at the time of death, thinking of me, you come to me. I promise you this. There's no doubt about it. So here we have that. That's the attaining the supreme is the name, the title of the 8th chapter, and the 21st verse is very interesting. It goes, Avyakto kshara ityuktas tam ahum paramam gatim yang prapya nanivartante tadhama paramam mama. That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. So here, the purport is really beautiful purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, the supreme abode of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, is described in the Brahma Samhita. This is what you were saying, Parikshit Prabhu, as Chintamani Dham, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees. What's that in Sanskrit, you know? Desire trees?
Kalpavriksha.
Kalpa Vriksha. Yeah. Kalpa Vriksha. You know the actual meaning of that Kalpa Vriksha? Kalpa, what's another meaning of Kalpa? Kalpa, Kalpa.
Kalpa is time.
Time,
the day
yes.
of Lord Brahma.
Day of Lord Brahma. And day of Brahma. And Vriksha means cut. It's cut only after, not even in the day of Lord Brahma. So that's where it comes from, Kalpa Vriksha. Yeah. So and that supply any type of eatable, the desire trees supply any type of edible upon demand. And there are cows known as Surabhi cows, which supply a limitless supply of milk. So you can make sweet rice, yogurt, sandesh, all for offering to Krishna. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds and thousands of goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primeval Lord and the cause of all causes. The Lord is accustomed there to blow on his flute, Bedum Kwanantam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears a saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka Vrindavan, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita. Vedic literatures like the Katha Upanishad state that there is nothing superior to the abode of the Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. Purushan na param kinchit sakasta paramagati. When one attains it, he never returns to this material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavan, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of that supreme Goloka Vrindavan located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this earth, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavan, comprising about 168 square miles in the district of Mathura, India. Oh, very, very beautiful reminder of the spiritual world. So that was pretty much a paraphrase of or translation of the first verses of the Brahma Samhita, which describe more fully the spiritual world. So just like if you want to go on a vacation, they have these vacation brochures. Did anybody go on a cruise? Anybody go on a cruise before? Nobody? Anyway, don't they give you a
Yeah, at
brochure?
least a couple of people on here have.
Yes,
Yeah, and
Prabhu.
they have all the different facilities there and the different pictures that show the people enjoying and all that stuff. And that makes it gives you an inkling about wanting to go there. So in a similar way, the more we can hear about the spiritual sky, the more we can hanker to go there. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport of that 15th chapter, 6th verse, Natad Bhasyate Shuryo, one should be captivated by the information about the spiritual world. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if we take to Krishna consciousness, there will gradually become detached. Well, how to do that? One has to associate with devotees or those who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. In this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world and go back home, back to Godhead. Hari Bol. Hari Bol.
Can I ask a question about that?
Of course.
So, as you read, it says that one should, I'll just paraphrase, aspire to go back to the spiritual world and leave this
Yes.
material world. I have heard two things. One, Lord Chaitanya say, Mama Janmani Shwari Bhavatal Bhakti Ahoitiki Twai. Life after life after life. When you say life after life, that means in the material world, because there's no life after life in the spiritual world. And another point that Srila Prabhupada made in his lecture is that we shouldn't be concerned about going to getting to the spiritual world, because that is Krishna's business. If he wills, he will let us go. So when we say that, and then I hear what we just quoted, then my mind becomes, so which is which though? Let's see if we can comment on it a little bit.
Yeah, good question. I knew that question was coming.
I'm sorry.
Lord Chaitanya said, Na dalam, na janam, na sundarim, kavitam va jagadisha kamaye, mama janamani janamani share, bhavatad bhakti rahaitik. I don't want beautiful wealth, not janam, not followers, na sundarim, no beautiful partners or attractive partners. That's not what I want. I want your service. I want your service. Even janamani janmani share. So, there's this description of the cow dung. You know cow dung?
Mm.
Usually we find that the Vedas say that the dung or the stool of an animal is contaminated, right?
Yes.
But cow dung is not, it's pure. So how do you rectify those two things? They're both true. They're both true. A conch shell is a bone of an animal, and the bone of an animal is contaminated. But a conch shell, especially you take it on the altar and you use it for your arti. So it's, even though generally speaking, but they're both true. So you gotta put your mind around that one. On one hand, yeah, or our focus on our focus is to engage in devotional service, but also focus as that wasn't my saying it wasn't me saying it. Srila Prabhupada said that we should desire to go back to Godhead. Both hold both things together. And we have the magazine. What's our magazine called? Hare Krishna magazine. Back to Godhead. Let's go back to Godhead. Yeah. So it seems contradictory, but And, you know, when Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, he left Katwa, and for 3 days he was wandering in the Radha Desh, where the Ganges doesn't flow, and fasting. And then he wanted to go to Vrindavan. That was his interest. So then Nityananda Prabhu directed him to go to the Ganges. Then when he found out, oh, this was the Ganges, he thought he was in Vrindavan because he thought that was the Jamuna. So what did Nityananda Prabhu say?
Wherever you are, the Lord.
Wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. So in one sense, where if you're doing pure devotional service, Krishna is captured by you, you're with Krishna. There's no question about it. When somebody makes progress in spiritual life to the point of becoming eligible to enter Krishna's Lila, where does that person go first?
Spiritual world.
No, they go to go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Yeah.
I
Welcome
think
back.
Thank you,
Didn't
Prabhu.
you come back from India?
Yes, I did. So I think Srila Prabhupada mentions in the Krishna book that first the perfect devotee goes to the universe where Krishna's pastime are happening at that time.
Yes. And another interesting point is Srila Prabhupada wrote one letter to a devotee. I can send you the letter, which is very interesting. He says that the Pandavas never go back to Godhead. It seems a little contradictory, doesn't it? Because you have the Srimad Bhagavatam and the returning, but they're always traveling with Krishna in his pastimes within the material universes. Isn't that interesting? So all those things are true. And he said, he also said, is there, the pastimes of Krishna are going on in every universe, and just like it's 1 o'clock somewhere, it's 2 o'clock somewhere. So on this earth, it's 1 o'clock somewhere, 2 o'clock somewhere. It's everywhere, all the time. So all the pastimes are going on of Krishna in the different universes. So someone asked him, that means there are a lot of different Arjunas in the different universes? Srila Prabhupada answered, no, it's one Arjuna. He said, but you can't understand it. You won't be able to understand it in the conditioned state. Haribol. He expands. Yes. Nitya Gopal, is that something?
We just saw the description mentioned in the Brahma Samhita regarding the spiritual world. So that applies to the Vrindavan Dham here in the material world.
Yeah. It was a very, we may not see it, just like we may not appreciate Krishna as his Murti, Archa Murti form, Archa Vigraha form, but he's there. And by purification of heart, we will be able to appreciate that. Anyway, there's also, the purport for the Chintamani Prakarashadmasu verse in the Brahma Samhita written by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, we could also read. It's very short if you have like a couple of minutes. Is that okay?
Yeah, please.
So the translation is, I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the first progenitor who is tending the cows, yielding all desire, in abodes built with spiritual gems, surrounded by millions of purpose trees, and always served with great reverence and affection by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Purport. By the word Chintamani is meant transcendental gem. Just as Maya builds this mundane universe with the 5 material elements, so the spiritual chit potency has built the spiritual world of transcendental gems. The Chintamani, which serves as material in the building of the abode of the Supreme Lord of Goloka, is a far rarer and more agreeable entity than even the philosopher's stone. The purpose tree yields only the fruits of piety, wealth, fulfillment of desire and liberation. But the purpose trees in the abode of Krishna bestow innumerable fruits in the shape of checkered divine love. So this is a little bit of a distinction, because apparently there's some types of kalpavrikshas in the material world, but the kalpavrikshas, according to this purport, in the spiritual world, are only for giving us purpose of serving Krishna for the devotees, and that's their desire. You follow? Kamadhenus, cows yielding the fulfillment of desire, give milk when they are milked. But the Kamadhenus of Goloka pour forth oceans of milk in the shape of the fountain of love, showering transcendental bliss that does away with the hunger and thirst of all pure devotees. The word laksha and sahasrashata signify endless numbers, and the word sambrama or shadara indicates being saturated with love. Here, Lakshmi denotes Gopi. Adipurusha means he who is the primeval Lord. Jai, Govind, Jai. Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. Adibol.
Thank you very much for this in-depth explanations. This how you're narrating the Bhagavad Gita and then Brahma Samhita, all of them describing the spiritual world. And
you know,
the replica.
I did a search of the word Dhamma in the Vedabase to see, you know, and in the Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada mentions Dhamma the most is in the introduction, describing the spiritual more in the introduction than the rest of the Bhagavad Gita, which is very interesting. He talks about Sanatan Dhamma again and again, spiritual, the eternal world.
Spiritual world. Thank you very much
for
so many explanations. Thank you so much. Devotees, we're on top of the hour now, 9 o'clock, but if you have any last questions or connections that you want to share, please unmute yourself and do that now.
So, Prabhu, regarding the spiritual world and the Vrindavan here in material world, I heard the Parikya Bhav, which is we hear mostly in our Sampradaya, it's not in the spiritual world, because all the gopis are all gopis are the Lord's concerts. They are eternal concerts.
Where did you hear that?
So, yeah, I'm also surprised to hear that. Parakya is the relationship with the gopis. Swakya is with the queens.
Yes, so this that's what I heard. All the Swakya.
I think the distinction is, my understanding is the distinction is in the material world. Some of the gopis have actual other husbands, like Srimati Radharani's so-called husband is Abhimanyu. In the spiritual world, they don't have actual other husbands.
Right.
That's the distinction.
Husband is Sri Krishna.
Yeah, but still, there's the feeling of Parakya Ras. Although they have no other. That's how I've heard it and understood it. Any others have input on that one?
The relationship with the gopis with Krishna, we always said, never heard gopis be wives. Gopis are girlfriends, and that's the Parakya Ras. I mean, that's the way I have it at the back of my mind.
Yeah. So but the distinction being in the material, this Boma Vrindavan, they may have actual, married. They're actually married. Some of the gopis are married. Yes. There's different levels of gopis. There's this older gopis, younger gopis, etc. But some of them are married. Yeah. So when Krishna blew on his flute, some of the husbands tried to stop them from going. Isn't it? And there was the wives of the Brahmanas were some of their husbands didn't want them to go and give Krishna food. Yeah. So, and even though they were not the same rasa, but in
Well,
spiritual world, in Goloka Vrindavan, Lakshmi, Sahasra Shata Sambrahma, they're all those gopis are serving him with great care and affection, with great love. And the if it's here in the material world, it's got to be there in the spiritual world also. Nothing is less there. So the feeling and rasa is there, but just not some of the other trappings. That's my understanding. We can look into it further.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Another thing I heard is the Bal Lila, the pastimes of the Lord doesn't happen in the Golok Vrindavan spiritual world. Because Lord is always 16-year-old in the...
Yeah. So here we have something from, according to the views of Shri Rupa, whichever Leelas manifest are present in Goloka in their pure form without a tinge of Maya. That is why Parikya Bhava, in some form or other, is also present in Goloka. Yeah, but it's in its pure state, right? Yeah. So then, yes, about the Krishna's birth, that's not in the spiritual, in the Goloka Vrindavan, right? Those kinds of things, yes. Special. Those Leelas.
Yeah, so that way, I mean, Leelas happened here on the Earth planet. They are special, and they are, that way is special. They don't happen in the spiritual world.
The childhood pastimes, yeah.
The birth doesn't happen, but if it doesn't happen in the spiritual, put it like that, then what is Putana's role then? Because she's a nurse in the spiritual world.
She helps Mother Yashoda, yeah.
What is the size of Krishna then? Is he not a baby?
We don't have any information that he's a baby.
Okay, well then we'll leave it like that. I won't even go into it further.
We don't have any information. So we have in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Krishna is described but we don't hear a description that he's a baby there in Brahma Samhita. And that's he's describing Goloka Vrindavan,
What I also heard, if you don't mind my adding, is that the husbands of the gopis, when they're in the material world in Vrindavan, if I remember correctly, they act as caretakers of the gopis, but the gopis actually belong to Krishna. That's the principle.
Everybody belongs to Krishna, yes.
Well, yeah, generally.
Everybody does.
Okay.
And those are going pretty. Those are high things. We can try to. If there's it would be good to get some Vedic reference to that. I don't have it at hand. Perhaps Nitya Gopal or Dear Krishna Prabhu could get some further reference on that and send it to us about the childhood pastimes on this earth level. Not just this earth, but in every those things also in every universe also go on.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. One thing that I think I read somewhere or heard is in the spiritual Golok Vrindavan, there are different levels for each. For example, for Mother Yashoda and Baba, the mood they are serving Krishna, there is a different level or different dimension. And then for gopis and one who is in the Madhurya Bhav, they have even deeper dimension there. So based on the mood of the devotees, even in Golok Vrindavan, there are different categories and dimensions.
Yes, sure. Certainly. Yes. Thank you.
Well, that's
well, I wish you all luck in going back to the spiritual world, everybody here. Yeah, when you get your ticket, let's see if we get anybody selling any tickets. We'll see. We can go on the Vaikuntha Express or the Vaikuntha airline. Okay. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Kripa
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Thank you, devotees, for coming on also and joining in the discussion. Thank you very much. You have this evening program in the temple. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. It's going to be there. Program starts at 6 o'clock. And then on Saturday, there's a 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., 12-hour kirtan. Devotees from different parts of the country and even, I'm not sure whether even Canada, but there are a lot of devotees coming. Kirtanians, wonderful Kirtanians. So arrange your time so you'll be at the temple to bathe in the holy name of the Lord and be part of this wonderful program. Lunch prasadam will be served, dinner prasadam will be served. So you just get your breakfast, if you're that type, you eat 3 meals a day, and then lunch and dinner will be cared for, and come to the temple. Hare Krishna. Chira Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Glory to the Prabhupada.